Okay. Monka.
This is 26-year-old Dawson McGee,
Oh,
sitting in a
wow,
police
right here.
interrogation
Hi,
room in
Wendy.
the early
Why
hours of a
people
Tuesday
blankets?
morning. The Monday night before,
Lynn, thank you for the
he
5
stabbed his
months.
own mother to death for asking him to move out of the house and get a job. Dawson is unaware that he is being recorded on a hidden camera. In 3 seconds from now, he will hear the sound of the door being opened by a detective. And at that exact moment, you will see a remarkably noticeable switch in his demeanor.
Q crazy in 1. What the heck?
We're discussing something I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about what happened to your mom.
What happened to my mom?
Well, you tell me.
People called me and said something happened at home to mom. They were very bad.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to my mom?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I was waiting for my brother and sister to tell me.
Okay. Well, so, was your sister home this weekend?
-1, dude.
Wait,
-1.
I'm supposed to have an attorney?
If you want one.
Am I supposed to have an I should request an attorney.
Well, that's up to you if you like one. But, I mean, we'd like to talk to you.
You're supposed to have an attorney. I would offer. I would ask for an attorney.
Dude,
You want to
stuttering
ask for an attorney?
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
equal crazy, right?
It would come as no surprise that a judge deemed him fit to stand trial. A jury then found him legally sane, and he was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his mother. All of which was in spite of a continuous charade of mental illness similar to the one you see here. Dawson clearly believed that his passage through the legal system would somehow be easier if he were presumed insane, which is a naive, yet somewhat common misconception that many suspects make when facing serious charges. They have this notion that a plea of insanity would either lower the severity of their punishment or liberate them from it altogether.
What
that
the
instead of
heck?
being sent to prison, they would simply be released back into society, perhaps with a free psychotherapeutic program to attend on the
What
weekends.
the heck? This guy crazy.
This is, of course, a far cry from reality. In the United States, if you're found responsible for a serious offense, but also found not guilty of the crime by reason of insanity, you will be institutionalized at a high-security psychiatric facility.
that's
These
even worse.
institutions are without question some of the darkest and most disturbing places in the system.
That's
And
even
if you're not
worse.
actually suffering from the crippling effects of mental illness, living in this type of environment will be a mentally agonizing experience.
Oh,
The
God.
foresight of what occurs inside
Oh,
these units
God.
would make the majority wish to avoid them. But once
Oh.
you are in, it is very hard to get out, and you will have to serve the same, if not a greater amount of time than you would have had to serve at a regular prison.
Oh,
So to put it
God.
briefly, if you commit a serious offense and then pretend to be crazy in order to
crazy.
get away with it, your life from that point forward will be an extremely dark and uncomfortable
Oh,
existence,
God.
whether you manage to fool the system or not.
Wahoo!
But there is one benefit, which is the
the
elimination
timing of that alert. Malarity, thank you so much for the 5 months. Wahoo!
of capital punishment. The United States cannot execute someone deemed insane during the time of their offense, which is the only conceivable reason a defendant would cling to this narrative even after knowing what lies ahead should it succeed. And this happens to be a notion that ties in closely to the primary subject of this video. It will focus on one particular individual whose interrogation footage is so fraught with blatant trickery that most of the segments presented to you won't even need suggestive commentary. You can simply observe and judge for yourself whether you see authentic behavior or not. But before showing you what pretending to be crazy looks like, we'll briefly show you a genuine
Jordan,
case
thank
of
you
the
so much for
criminally
6
insane,
months.
6
or at least a
months
far more
already.
convincing one.
D.
This is 18-year-old Jared Murray, a freshman at East Central University in Oklahoma. On a Wednesday evening in December, he asked fellow student Gennaro Sanchez for a ride to Walmart. Once they got there, Murray pulled out a handgun and made
my.
Gennaro drive to an isolated country road where he shot him twice in the head. He then attempted to hitchhike to Canada, but was soon apprehended by police on the side of the road. He immediately confessed to the crime once apprehended, and was then interrogated by the arresting officer.
I went down to his dorm room and asked if I
But
could
why?
be given a ride to Walmart in exchange for $20 gas money.
So he took you to Walmart,
Yes, sir.
and did you both go in?
No, we did not go in, sir.
Okay.
And why not?
We pulled into the parking lot, then I pulled the weapon on him and demanded that he take me to Asher, Oklahoma, sir.
And why did all of a sudden did you decide that you need to go to Asher?
What?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Oh my god.
Did he say anything?
He panicked, wanted to pull out his phone. I yanked the phone out of his hand, and then he panicked some more, kept telling me not to kill him. To make him feel more comfortable, I unloaded the clip, unloaded the bullet from the chamber, handed them over to him, and that eased his nerves a little.
To
Then I
make
pulled a
him
second
more
clip out of my
comfortable.
pocket and set it on my lap.
It's a fucking
Did you
troll.
grab an ease?
Oi!
And so I guess
Diana,
something
thank you for the
more.
6 months. He was like, yeah, I
You
unloaded the
decided
first clip,
now
but I
we're
actually
done.
pulled out a
Yes, sir.
second one.
And what happened?
The heck?
I loaded the gun quickly, chambered the round quickly, shot once, missed, shot a second time, hit, jumped out of the
missed?
car, went around. He was driving 10-15 miles an hour, so it was rather slow. Ran around the hood of the car, and of course it was slow when he wasn't purposefully driving. Tried to pull him out, couldn't get him out until he already had hit the tree. Pulled him out there, dumped him into the, before I dumped him into the ditch, I heard him gurgling. I'm not sure if that was a physiological or physical process after death.
Oh
but,
my god.
I thought that he might have still lived through that somehow, because he was gurgling, so I shot him again and then shoved him down in the ditch.
He makes a
my
half-hearted
goodness.
attempt to conceal the body with a handful of leaves and a stick.
A
He then walks in the
handful
direction of the
leaves
highway.
and a
Did you
stick.
get back on the highway?
Yes, sir.
Are you
And
serious?
which way did you go?
No, sir.
And what were your intentions? You were walking north.
Canada, sir.
You was going to Canada.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He states that his plan was to escape into Canada, but he had nothing to escape
Good
with,
God,
not even
do
a
not
passport.
let this man's
I
into
tried
Canada.
hitchhiking,
Our country
for,
is-
most of the way because the only way this was going to work
Has no space for
factoring in,
people like this, Monka.
my belief that y'all found the crime scene is if someone
No,
were to give me a
please.
ride there and then. And then whenever your patrol car was pulling up behind me, I didn't know it was a patrol car. I stuck my thumb out and you was there for the rest.
You was
I'm going to
there.
ask you just point blank, because, I mean, you sat here and confessed to,
Put trigger warning.
Pretty much everything.
in my mind, and I think you might agree with me, just cold-bloodedly killed a young man tonight.
Yes, sir.
Or last night. Have you ever killed anybody else?
No, sir.
You will now see the detective attempt to establish a motive for the crime.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding
If I read that, I would be curious about the kind of stuff. Well, you were
what
warned.
you got out of it. Can you help me?
I don't really get anything out of it.
Do you feel any remorse?
This is just actually, like, crazy, right?
I'm sad that I got caught so quickly.
He's so
Tell me why I should
honest.
believe you that
He's
that
so,
this was
like,
gonna be one person
He's
that
so,
was
like,
gonna suffer from your
brazen about
consequences
his
of killing.
actions.
You have no reason
And
to
then
believe me, sir.
so
I guess I'm just
honest
having a
about
real hard
not
time
feeling any
understanding
remorse.
Why?
The detective fails to establish a solid motive for a further 2 minutes. The discussion eventually lands on the victim's long-term girlfriend.
You don't think she's gonna be upset?
How did
or
someone
bothered?
like this have a
I think she will be,
long-term
sir.
girlfriend?
How'd that make you feel?
No different, sir.
Does he just act to be caring?
I think you've been honest with me. I think you told me just straight up, right out of the book. What happened?
Oh, the
Yes, sir.
victim's girlfriend. I
Ma'am.
thought it was his girlfriend.
You know, you've done a terrible thing tonight.
Yes, sir.
I thought this guy
you
had a
killed a man.
girlfriend. Holy.
Yes, sir.
Just for the simple fact of, I guess pretty much this is safe for you.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think should happen to you?
Death sentence, sir.
Wow.
And why do you think you deserve this?
He's okay with it.
An eye for an eye, sir.
Do you believe an eye for an eye?
Yes, sir.
He's like, I killed a guy, so you can kill me. It's all good.
Jared Murray was found
MP.
not guilty by reason of insanity. He was
What?
committed to a high-security mental facility where he is to remain indefinitely.
Anything to say for yourself today?
No, ma'am.
Any reason why you might have done this to this young man?
No, ma'am.
Wait, but
No reason.
why?
No, ma'am.
You
But
have
why
nothing to
is
say
he
for
found
yourself.
not
No, ma'am.
guilty
You
by
wanna tell the
reason of
community anything?
insanity? I
No,
thought
ma'am.
you can still
Did
be
you confess
very
to
much.
police?
Yes, ma'am.
be
you proud of
found
what you've
guilty
done?
even if you're insane. So why was
Do you have
he
remorse for
found
what you've done?
not guilty?
He appears completely void of human emotion. No regret, remorse, shame, nor fear. He had both taken a life and destroyed his own,
No
yet seems
motive?
indifferent to the circumstances. With respect to his interrogation footage, the most conspicuous element was the complete lack of self-preservation. He didn't once attempt to deflect blame, nor afford himself any type of justification for his actions.
Wow.
He simply spoke in a factual, non-biased manner, impartial to how his words may have been taken or even twisted to be used against him. There was no calculated structure to his behavior whatsoever. So with this notion in mind, let's move on to the primary subject of this video.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Not fun. Good. Go there a minute, have a seat on the floor chair, alright? Put your hands up a little bit. Have a seat. Spread your feet up. Don't do not think about getting up, right, buddy?
Match this guy.
This is 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, who
This
3
guy's
hours and
19?
55 minutes prior to
looks
this
pretty
moment
old for
murdered
some reason.
17
Maybe it's just
people
the
at his
video
former
quality.
high school in Parkland, Florida. Among the dead were 3 teachers and 14 students, the majority of whom were 14 years old. A further
14
17 students
students.
were seriously wounded during the massacre. The gunman dropped his rifle 7 minutes
What
into the
the
rampage
heck?
and then blended in with the crowd as he ran out of the building. He was at large
What
for 1
crowd?
hour and 20 minutes.
Mans was
during
running solo in a random. What crowd? Blend in with who? There's one dude running down the road.
which time he stopped
What
off at a Subway
blend?
and then a McDonald's, where he sat down and casually spoke to one
Guy
of the
stuck out
victim's
like a
brothers.
sore thumb.
The
He was
student was
wearing
unaware
red.
that his older sister had just been shot through the chest by the man sitting across
Oh
the
my
table.
God, that's
The
so-
description
that's
of the
so
shooter
messed up.
was transmitted by police over the radio, which led to an officer identifying and arresting him on a street just 2 miles away from the school. He was taken to the nearest hospital and examined by a doctor for roughly 1 hour and 45 minutes. He was medically cleared and then transferred to the local sheriff's office, where he was subjected to interrogation.
No,
Oh my
don't,
God.
do not think about getting up, right, buddy?
You guys ever wonder why I never go outside? This is why. Holy
From the
shit.
moment the subject entered the room, his eyes have been fixed
Stay
upon
home.
nothing but the floor. He's held on to this
Oh, God,
downward-facing
just stay
gaze
home.
as if he's either in a state of shock or disconnected from the moment.
Yeah.
I wonder what his motive was.
At the exact moment the door shuts, he lifts up his head to observe his surroundings. His behavior completely shifts once he believes no one is watching. If we look at his demeanor a moment earlier, we can see the contrast. He went from being detached to alert. His behavior changed as the environment changed, which is a recurring theme throughout this interrogation. It shows us that his mind isn't wandering off during these moments of apparent disconnection.
What the
He is in
heck?
fact fully present and very aware of what's going on
Good,
around
thanks
him.
for the 12 months, by the way. I didn't see. Also, S6 with 12
As he
months,
looks
thank
up,
you.
his eyes immediately lock onto the camera. He now knows he is still being watched, and his following gestures will resemble that of someone with suicidal tendencies.
What the? Oh my gosh. But this is
At
acting,
face
right?
value, these externalized suicidal thoughts may seem genuine to some, but when framed with the rest of his
-1.
behavior throughout this interrogation, they are exposed for what they really are: an act, a calculated attempt to garner sympathy and paint his character in what he
Sympathy.
believes to be a more positive light.
All right, how you doing, Nick? You all right? Gotta be able to speak so I can hear you.
That's crazy. 3
All right, I just need to
teachers
ask you
and 14,
really your name and
14-year-old
date of birth
students.
just to confirm I got it right.
God,
and
they
then
were
we see
so
you want a
young.
glass of water
Holy
or
crap. I
something.
can't imagine.
What's your first name?
This is a situation where the proof against the suspect is already conclusive. He is without question responsible for the crimes under investigation, making the pursuit of a confession not essential. The police know he did it, but they need to know why he did it, which would already require a complex strategy in order to obtain the correct information. But the suspect's first recorded statements upon his arrest have now made the procedure considerably more difficult.
What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Oh,
Demons?
God, the demons. Oh, the demons.
Voices.
Yeah, no problem.
Voices.
Voices and demons?
Where's the voices? What happened?
Shut up. Be quiet, man.
Demons, man. Voices.
What happened?
These
Shut
two
up.
words have now forged the
I
primary
don't know why that was
stratagem of
just
his
so
own
funny.
interrogation, which is to cut through deception
can't.
under the guise of supportive examination. The questions will be designed to lock him into a specific narrative about his alleged psychosis, while
What happened? Shut
simultaneously
up.
giving him the impression that his responses are for his own
Man
benefit.
really said what
Anything he
happened.
says now can be used to refute any amendments he might come up with at a later stage. We all know that after this interrogation, he will have significantly more time to think, study, and even seek guidance from professionals about how the legal system interconnects with mental illness. Yet the majority of this forthcoming
attorney
knowledge
or
could be
whatever?
useless to him depending on what he says during these moments. The more details he gives away, the less options he will have for his defense later on. But
God, can you
pursuing this
imagine
objective
being
is
an
complicated,
attorney
as
for,
there are
like,
two
this
very common
kind of
scenarios
person?
for when this type of
I would not
suspect
wanna
gets
work in law.
interrogated. And just to be entirely
That would
clear,
freaking
by
get me
this
so
type of
mad.
suspect, we mean someone who is 1. Pretending to be insane, and 2. Not fooling anyone. Their most common response is to simply shut down. They regress into total silence or some type of catatonic state, and the interrogation never gets off the ground. The other common response is the exact opposite. They erupt into hysteria
Oh
or
my
supposed
God.
delirium, and everything from that point forward becomes incoherent. The lead detective, John Curcio, must not allow either of these scenarios to transpire, and this makes the first 2 minutes absolutely crucial. He needs to create a positive first impression and resemble the furthest thing from a threat, while at the same time maintain a presence of authority. His temperament
Oh my
will be
God.
easygoing and non-confrontational, but also encouraging when extracting a
Holy.
response. His role at this moment is the ally. He needs to be liked, respected, but must not be feared. Not yet, anyway.
Oh,
Going off
jeez.
the suspect's initial demeanor, the detective will know that he is far more likely to regress into a state of silence at this opening stage. And if he can prevent that from happening within the first 2 minutes, he is over the first obstacle.
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
how you doing, Nick? I just need to ask you, really, your name and date of birth, just to confirm I got it right, and then I'm going to see you want a glass of water or something. What's your first name? Come on, Nick. Huh? Spell it for me.
Okay.
Come on, I'm old. You got to talk so I can hear you. N-I-K-O.
I'm old. That's me.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm old. You
Yes.
gotta talk
And
louder
what's your
so I
middle
can
name?
hear you chat.
Come on, man. Speak so I can hear you. Jacob. J-A-C. What's your date of birth?
Better speak up, chat. I can't see with these old
You need to relax,
eyes.
because I'm the last detective or policeman you're going to have to talk to. So right off the bat, that should be somewhat comforting to you to know that I'm the last guy you got to talk to. But the thing about it is, look at me. I got to be able to hear you. Okay? So all I want to do is get basic information from you, and then we'll get into the, whether you want a glass of water, all that stuff. What's your date of birth?
He's
09.
way
January?
too present
09.
to be like
09
demons
September.
and voices.
The investigation team
You know what I
already
mean?
know the answers to
Like,
these
he's
basic
so
questions. Their only purpose are to
present.
initiate a response, and their non-threatening nature make it more likely for the suspect to engage. They are essentially the opening wedge to get the two-way dialogue flowing. And although the suspect is still partially committed to his catatonic state, as we can clearly see, he is still responsive, making it unlikely for him to regress into complete silence from this point forward.
Exactly.
Everything up to this moment has gone to plan. The detective has one foot in the door, and he can now develop the relationship from a more secure
I
position.
see.
He goes about
can
this
go
with
in
a
and out of
standard
hearing
method of
voices,
rapport
it's not always
development, the
constant.
offer of food and water.
Are you coming from a place of
Let me do this. You
experience,
want
Empire?
cold water?
Do you also hear voices sometimes?
You don't know if you want cold water? Thank you. I'm going to bring in 2. Because I want one. It was hot, and then if you decide you want to have
Demons
it,
and
that's fine.
voices.
You sure you don't want something to eat?
Just kidding.
Okay.
Just
The
kidding.
refusal to accept food and water is a familiar response which you may have already seen on this channel. It's a glaring manifestation of shame. This is not to be confused with guilt nor remorse, both of which require the acceptance of responsibility, which in turn directs our focus outwards on the feelings of others. Shame, on the other hand, shifts our focus on the perceptions of others towards ourselves. The subject is afraid of how it will look if he accepts the offer considering the circumstances. He instead wants to appear as if he's so negatively affected by the events that he's unconcerned with meeting his basic needs.
Of course, I have so many different
Every time I hear the word shame, it just makes me think of Game of Thrones, where they're like walking her down the town with the bell, and they're like, shame, ding ding, shame, ding ding, shame, ding ding. I can't see shame
Once
any
again,
other way
his
when I see the
demeanor
word.
abruptly switches when the detective leaves the room.
Cersei,
With his head buried in his hands, it's
Ding, ding.
anyone's guess as to what is going through his mind at this moment. But what you are about to see next is extremely revealing.
He breaks out of crazy.
Cruz was a left-handed shooter. The surveillance at the school would confirm this, and if you pay close attention to the movements of his hands in the next moments, although very subtle, you can see that he's reimagining holding his weapon.
Nice swing!
Natsumiii.
But what's more telling is how his demeanor abruptly stops and then completely switches right before he looks in the direction of the camera. He goes from holding a rifle and beginning to smirk, to then pretending to cry and reverting back to his suicidal mannerisms. This all occurs in under 4 seconds.
Nice swing. God, the timing of my alerts in this video.
It could be assumed that for a brief moment, he was not only recollecting the attack, but gaining gratification from doing so. He then remembered he was on film, giving reason for the sharp adjustment. His true self was reliving the attack and enjoying his work, while his false self was so dejected to the point he was externalizing suicidal thoughts. Complete opposites.
This guy could never play in GTA RP. -1 all around.
His next calculated charade is one of self-harm. He first bites himself without drawing blood, or leaving any marks that were visible in his jail intake photographs.
What the heck?
He then scratches and squeezes at the 2 needle punctures in his arm from where his blood was taken at the hospital. At the very moment the detective re-enters the room, he will act as if he's desperately trying to conceal his self-injurious behavior.
All right.
Setting aside the glaring contradiction that he just murdered and maimed dozens of people while leaving himself without so much as a scratch, it's the frequency of these little charades that makes their deception so transparent. This is a person who is not self-injurious, pretending to be someone that is. But it's such a feeble attempt at feigned self-harm, it would almost be a comical moment if the circumstances weren't as horrific.
So if they're not bleeding anymore and you want them off, we can pull them off. I'll get you in the garbage can. You want them off? Just put them on the throw them on the floor in the corner. Alright, this one is mine, because I already opened it. This one's yours in case you change your mind.
The next 4 minutes are the extremely tedious process of getting the subject to engage further through basic questions. The topic of his phone will now be brought up.
What about your phone? Do you have a phone?
How dare.
I lost it.
When did you lose it?
No water for this guy. I know he has to be nice. I know it's his job.
Today?
I
Okay.
know,
What kind of
I
phone
know,
is it?
but don't give him water
Okay, is it
anyways.
a flip top, an iPhone, a Samsung? It's a phone. What's the number?
I can't remember.
Okay.
He will now begin to feign a state of hysteria, which then morphs into a simulated panic attack and fake hyperventilation. The detective will need to refute the act immediately as to not let the subject gain confidence with it, but he also has to maintain rapport and avoid confrontation. He essentially has to tell the subject to knock it off, but in the most passive manner possible.
Okay, Nick.
31
Nick,
Natsumiii.
calm down. You've already been medically cleared. I know what's going to be talked about is difficult, but again, You don't remember your phone number. How long you had the phone? How long have you had the phone? Nick, the doctor's already looked at you.
Okay.
Okay, you're fine. You're not having any problems at the moment, and you're perfectly fine. So calm your breathing down, all right? And I want to believe certain things that you're going to tell me, but, you know, if we're getting where you're going to hyperventilate over a phone number... Okay.
The guy's like, all right, come on now, cut the
right.
bullshit. Just
So
tell me
what's
your
your phone
phone number. It's not that serious. Come on.
Okay, 954.
The manic episode is somewhat curbed, but the subject is still clearly committed to it.
954-821.
Guy's like, stop being dramatic.
200.
1007.
1007. And again, going back to what kind it is. Do you know if it's an iPhone, a Samsung? How long have you had it? Every kid knows what the phone is, man. I got kids your age.
Ever since my mother died.
I know, I heard about that. That's what I was going to talk about next.
This is a turning point. Cruz's adoptive mother had indeed passed away the year prior from pneumonia. The topic is sympathetic towards himself, and it seems to have stopped the feigned hysteria in its tracks. Compared to his neurotic behavior in the minutes leading up to this moment, he all of a sudden appears calm. He is clearly receptive, and thus responsive, to the cue of compassion when it's directed at himself. The detective recognizes this, and although he said he would talk about the subject's mother next, he instead focuses on it immediately to keep him engaged.
4 months.
All right.
Peaches
So-
thinks for the 4 months.
But you had, since your mom died, how long has your mom passed?
I can't remember, I think.
Okay. This year or last year?
November.
November? Okay. Okay, when your mom passed, were you living with her?
Yes.
Okay, what city was that? Parkland?
The subject drops the act and becomes more engaged in the conversation. The detective inquires further about his mother for roughly 3 minutes before shifting the discussion. It focuses mainly on the subject's background, and he first declares that he was depressed for the majority of his childhood. He then reveals his history of drug use, which consists of marijuana and Xanax. After that, he claims to have attempted suicide by alcohol poisoning 2 years ago, but in his own words, was able to sleep it off. He then states that
What kind of drug is Xanax again? The heck? Am I thinking of something else? I thought Xanax was like some kind of... Oh, it's an anti-anxiety. It's an opioid? I thought it was like... I think there's a drug that's very similar for like acid reflux. Anyways.
he was employed at the
thinking about
Dollar
something
Tree for the
else.
last 2 years working as a cashier.
So you've been able to hold down a job for 2 years. That's pretty good, right?
Yes.
Other than Dollar Tree, where else did you ever work?
Anyways.
Lawnmower.
Xantech, that's what it is.
Lawnmower? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Xantech.
All right. When you tried to kill yourself with alcohol, your mom was still alive. What were you depressed about back then?
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Loneliness?
Xantech.
Loneliness.
Friends?
I was
No
like-
friends?
I was
or
like, you can
what's-
abuse-
What kind of loneliness? I mean, everybody gets lonely.
Solitude.
Solitude? You don't have a lot of friends?
Oh, controlled substance mainly used for anxiety. I
Um,
see.
Today, when I say today, starting from last night when you went to bed to this morning, did you do any kind of drugs at all? Any Xanax, any marijuana, anything like that? No? Okay.
The subject reveals that he has a biological brother whom he was adopted with. He then claims to have been making $1,200 a month at the Dollar Tree. The discussion
Damn.
now lands on what his aspirations were.
$1,200
depressed,
for
what did you wanna be?
someone who's like this young is
You
actually
gotta-
quite a bit of money.
A ranger, an army ranger? Did you ever
$1,200 for like an
apply
18-year-old is like
for
a
any
decent amount of
paperwork to
money.
Try to go to the army?
I took the ASVAB.
Or a 19-year-old, I guess.
Okay, why'd you fail?
Because I was stupid.
You what?
I'm stupid.
You're stupid? Okay, were you going to take it again?
I was afraid to take it.
Okay, but you had aspirations to do something with your life. You wanted to be that's a hell of a thing to want to be, an Army Ranger.
The discussion moves on to the subject's gun collection, which continues for roughly
Thank you,
4.5
Barnacle.
minutes. The attack on the school is yet to be mentioned, but the last gun to now be discussed was his choice of weapon to commit the massacre.
What made you choose out
Already
of all
seen
the
this
guns to
video
want to buy
along
an
most of this
AR-15?
channel. Great choice. Party.
Cool looking.
Cool looking?
Cool looking.
Okay. Now, when you bought it, I mean, it was a legitimate purchase. They gave you a receipt and everything, right? So you bought it legally, right? Did you fill out those forms and everything? Okay, you remember those forms? Okay.
The detective now shifts the topic onto his former high school, the same place he carried out the attack.
Now, 3 years ago when you went to Douglas, and obviously you stopped going there, why did you stop going there?
My depression worsened.
Your depression worsened, and what was going on? Did you just stop school on your own, or did some incident happen where?
Yes, some incident.
Well, what was the incident that happened?
Fought a kid.
You fought a kid? You remember the kid's name?
Yeah.
Ian. And did you guys both get in trouble for the fight, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what did they do? Suspend you?
They suspended me.
Okay. And what happened from there? After you got suspended, did you go back to school?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened? Why'd you stop going there then?
I was embarrassed.
You felt embarrassed because you got suspended, or you felt embarrassed because of why?
Because of the fight.
Okay. Well, what was embarrassing about the fight? What were you guys fighting over?
A girl.
Girl? Well, what was embarrassing about it? I mean, did Ian get the better of you? Was that what was embarrassing, or he got the better of you?
Lost the fight.
Okay.
He has just provided the state with a solid argument for a motive. Establishing a reason for an offense is critical when dealing with claims of insanity. It can not only indicate premeditation, but also calculated malice in connection to the crime,
being a detective
something considered
is
absent
something
in the
else.
mind of the criminally insane. He also asserts that he was lonely and depressed while attending the school, all of which can reinforce the argument that he was exacting revenge upon the community in which he felt ostracized.
All right, so you go back to school. What ends up happening? You just stop going to school out there, or you got into more problems? Were they?
Got into more problems.
What was the more problems?
Failing class.
Okay.
Not going to school.
Okay. And this was all while your mom was still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Did there come a point in time where you just stopped going there, or they expelled you?
Or I just stopped going and then transferred me.
They transferred you? When they transferred you, was that upsetting to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
As we know, the suspect has made the claim about hearing a voice which he labeled the demon. The detective will now attempt to get a detailed narrative of these perceptual disturbances. He will do so by asking a series of open-ended questions and then continuous follow-up questions thereafter. This will lock him into specific claims about what he was hearing. The more information he gives away, the less he will be able to amend later on.
It's
And
the
the more
same as
questions
him
that are
going
posed, the more likely he is to make
True.
contradictions
Yeah, sure.
that can be
Yeah,
used
sure.
against him.
Yeah.
The suspect believes this is some type of clinical evaluation for the sake of his own well-being, and
This
this
detective
misconception will become glaringly apparent later
crazy
on.
good.
He, at this moment, is oblivious to the fact he is giving
The
information.
professionalism that the detective has to have, where he's literally like, he has, in his mind, he's probably the same as all of us. He's probably like, wow, this guy is like omega bullshitting -1, and then but he has to still like maintain his like calm, ally, good, respectful, authoritative, like everything. See, this detective is like plus 1,000. This guy is like negative 1,000,000. You know what I mean?
Away that will be used to cut through his own defense in years to come.
You go to the hospital, the doctors clear you, and you're talking about demons. What are the demons?
Oh God, demons.
Voices.
Well, tell me about it. What are the voices about?
It's another voice, the evil side.
The
Okay.
evil side.
And how long has that voice been going on?
Years.
Did you ever tell anybody about the voice? Never? And what does the voice say to you?
Burn, kill, destroy,
Okay, burn, kill, destroy what?
anything.
Okay, but have you ever burned, killed, or destroyed anything? What have you burned, killed, or destroyed?
Burned, just fire, set fire.
To
in a
what?
pit, in a pit, fire.
Oh, a fire pit. Okay, well, I mean, the voice told you to burn something, you built a fire in a fire pit. What's destructive about that? That's what fire pits are made for. What else did the voice tell you to do that's...
Kill animals.
Okay, have you ever killed animals?
Yes.
What kind of animals?
The detective.
Birds? Wild birds or people's
Shit
pets?
is funny.
How do you kill them?
Birds.
How do you kill them?
Wait for them, kill them.
Oh, can't catch them, so how do you
Oh,
wait
good. You
for
built
them?
a fire. Very nice.
Out in the grass. Wait for a bird to come up.
There's no way, man. I'm a bird lover. There's no way. You can't catch a bird, Holmes.
No, I mean like
With a pellet gun? Oh, okay. Where's your pellet gun?
it broke.
Okay.
Huh?
All right. So the voices tell you to herd animals and start fires in the fire pit. When was the last time you heard the voice?
Star fires in a fire pit.
What time was it yesterday?
It was at night.
Okay. And where were we at?
Work.
You at work? So you're at Dollar Tree. And what's the voice telling you?
I don't know how the detective isn't laughing. His professionalism
To hurt
is like
people.
insane.
Hurt people at Dollar Tree? Or hurt people?
I don't know, man. That shit's too funny to
Doesn't
me.
say specifically who? Alright. Can you tell how old the voice is?
My age.
Okay.
The voice is his
Do you have a
age.
good voice too, or just a bad voice? Is there a voice inside you that says, do good things?
The detective will now start getting confrontational, and the subject's behavior will shift once more in response. You will see him get defensive as he attempts to protect his narrative, and his responses will become much faster. He will even cut the detective off multiple times. Keep in mind that he was barely saying anything at the start of this interrogation.
No?
True.
Can't be. You held down the job for 2 years.
That's
If you were
true.
doing things bad, you wouldn't be able to hold the job down for 2 years, right?
That's true.
Okay. I mean, look. Everybody has, everybody,
It's me and then my bad side.
I understand. Everybody's got a quote good and bad side. There's people.
No, it's a voice. The voice isn't here. And that's me. Just regular me. Just trying to be a good person.
Okay.
Set aside his contradicting behavior for a moment and focus solely on his storyline. In his ideal scenario, we are to believe that he was battling these supposed voices and, in his own words, trying to be a good person. Yet he was unable to reveal or seek help for this internal struggle until the very moment of his arrest. It was quite literally the second he was confronted with his comeuppance that his supposed demons came to light. Now that he is in custody, with the atrocities already committed, he is somehow able to maintain control over the force that was previously keeping him silent. But a deleted video that would later be extracted from his phone would tell a very different story.
A video?
Hello. My name is Nick, and I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018.
What the hell?
My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple tracer rounds. I think I can get done.
What the fuck?
Location is Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am.
There are no signs of perceptual
What is the
disturbances.
motive of
There is
this?
no anguish, doubt, hesitation, or uncertainty when announcing his intentions. By his own narrative, he claims to have continuously fought against the evil intentions of the voice. Yet from a visual standpoint, there is no conflict in this video whatsoever.
It's me and then my bad side.
He just wanted to be
Everybody's
known.
got a
He
quote
wanted
good
to be like
and bad side. There's
recognized.
people.
No, it's a voice. The voice isn't here. And that's me. Just trying to be a good person.
Like that's it.
But obviously, again, when you say it's a
You wanted to be
voice, it's you.
famous.
It's all you. The voice is you as well.
Yeah.
The voice didn't force you to do anything, right?
No, the voice did. It's two voices.
Uh-huh.
There's one half that's the good and then the bad.
Yeah.
His rapidly interchanging behavior
He
has
has a
now
good and
gone from
bad voice now?
catatonic to manic to hallucinatory to now highly attentive and cautious.
What the heck?
Okay, well, the voice tells me to go to lunch and not pay for my meal. But I pay for my meal because I know that's the right thing to do, right? Okay, let's talk about it. Because the voice didn't tell you to take Uber, right?
Yes.
It did?
Yes.
The voice said take Uber. Did the
The voice is in me.
You're the voice.
No,
There's
in here.
okay, it's in your head.
Yes.
What is it? A male voice or a female voice?
Now.
Male?
The subject was beginning to panic, but the detective dials it in for the time being and switches the discussion back to more trivial matters. It seems that he wants to consult with the investigators outside before maximizing the pressure, and he reestablishes a certain level of trust before leaving the room.
Let me go. I'm going to go back and see what everybody's doing as far as what they need me to do.
You're not a psychologist or anything? Or?
No, I'm not. I'm a 59-year-old man who's raised 3 children.
Aww.
So I guess that makes me somewhat of a psychologist.
Can you give me a psychologist here?
I can certainly ask.
Why does he want a psychologist? It would even make
Have you
his
ever
act
seen a psychologist
even
before?
more obvious that he's not crazy.
Okay.
Self-sabotaging his own act.
The subject scratches his arm for another 2 minutes. He then switches to a hallucinatory state and appears to be seeing things in the room.
All right. Got some stuff here.
Nope. 2, 1. The countdown is so funny.
The detective will once more dismiss the act by pretending to not see it. He will then pose a question to the subject, and the charade will cease immediately.
Don't know Wald his acting.
Yeah, with the water. You put it back
Getting
over here.
wrecked
You
and
definitely don't want the water, huh?
left and right.
It's very interesting to observe his facial expressions at the exact moments he abandons fake behavior. These are the very brief junctures in which his true self appears to surface. It's
Holy.
easy to get distracted by the present situation as he sits there in a hospital gown chained to the floor, essentially helpless to the cunning devices being used against him. But in moments like this, we are reminded of what we're actually dealing with. A very short time ago, he was not helpless at all. He was the one preying on the helpless, offering them none of the sympathy nor mercy of which he is now trying to garner for himself.
All right, this school or this psychologist you want to talk to. Obviously, I would have to tell him what you want to talk to him about. So, what exactly what do you want me to ask him, or why do you want to talk to a psychologist?
Find out what's wrong with me.
Well, what do you think's wrong with you?
I don't know.
The detective in this
I'll
next
tell you what's
segment will
wrong. You
attain
just
further
killed,
information
like,
about the
20
supposed
people,
voices, only he will no longer have
That's
to
what's
tread
wrong with
carefully
you.
in order to maintain a friendly connection. He will still secure useful information, but also get confrontational as and when he pleases. The risk of frightening the suspect to the point where it stops the interrogation is no longer a concern.
When you hear the voices, are the voices like outside your head or inside your head when you hear them?
Inside.
Okay, so it's not like you don't hear a voice from that corner talking to you. It's inside your head. And is it always the same voice, or is it only one voice?
One voice, yeah.
And you said it's a man's voice? Yeah.
Yes.
Does it sound like anybody you've ever met? Anybody you ever seen on TV? Can you tell, like, by an accent? Is it what kind of, is it an old man, young man, white man,
Young
black?
man.
Young man?
Young man.
About the same age as you think? But it's only one voice you ever hear, right?
Yes.
30
Do you hear
minutes
the
away from your
voice
school,
when
that's so
you're in
scary.
bed at night sleeping?
Yes.
Do you ever see anything with the voice? Like
Yeah,
like,
so it's
you
just
know,
him.
Some people say, oh, I see
He's
a person
describing
sitting in the
his
corner.
thoughts.
You don't see anybody sitting over there, do you? It's just me and you, right? Alright. Do you always obey what the voice tells you to do?
Like starting fires in a fire pit?
Well, how many, on any given week, how many times do you think you hear the voice? All the time?
Once every day.
Once every day? Morning, afternoon, night? Always the same time?
Usually in the afternoon.
About what time?
11 to 12.
Why do you think it's those hours?
Demon be like, make fire pit, also take Uber.
Always around lunchtime?
I'm dead.
Now you talked about demons, and then you talk about
Yeah,
the
that's the
voice.
demon. That's the voices.
Demon also
The
be
voice
like,
is the
okay,
demon.
but if Uber
So
no
there's
come
not
try
the
lift.
Person, whoever it is.
Pause champ.
Does it have a name?
No name.
Does it ever say, hey, my name's Nick. Does it use your name or use somebody else's name? Just a voice with no name.
Which voice was no name telling me what to do.
Did the voice tell you to buy that AR-15?
Yes.
Did it tell you, hey, buy that gun, it looks cool? Did the AR-15 get picked out because it was similar to the gun that an Army Ranger would carry?
No,
Can you just like
because of
go
the
and
voice.
buy a gun
What do you think?
in America?
If
Is
you
that how it
didn't buy
works?
it, if
Like
say,
just
hey,
any
I
Mojo
ain't buying a
Jojo
gun,
can
too
just go
expensive.
into
What
a
do you think
store
the
and
voice
buy a
would have done to
gun
you?
with like no
Did you
license
stop
or
talking to
anything.
you?
No, tell me to hurt myself.
Holy shit! Really?
How would you hurt yourself?
Cut.
Oh,
You're a cutter?
I see.
Alright. When was the last time you cut yourself?
Earlier,
Huh.
Earlier when?
when I was fishing.
Earlier today or earlier?
Earlier today.
Where were you fishing at today?
At a lake.
Okay. Before the before the school shooting?
Yes.
What did you cut yourself with?
Knife.
Those little scratches on your arms?
Can't have a
Look
felony
at-
charge on your record.
Come on, man. I get worse scratches weeding my flower bed than that. You weren't trying to hurt yourself.
Yes, it wasn't sharp enough.
Wasn't sharp enough?
No.
How many knives do you own?
4, 5
How long you been cutting yourself?
years.
You ever cut yourself where you had to go to the hospital and get stitches? When you cut yourself, it's because the voice just told you to cut yourself. And if you didn't talk or you didn't listen to the voice, then you were going to be alone because your voice was your only friend. That's kind of what you're saying. Even though you have a biological brother. Since me and you have been talking, have you heard the voices? What's it said?
Saying cut yourself.
For you to cut yourself. Does the voice like me?
Huh?
Does the voice like me?
Doesn't trust you.
Why doesn't he trust me? I'm pretty relaxed, ain't I?
I'm trying to figure that out too.
Well, what doesn't he like about me? I mean, I'm kind of grinning because I want to know what the voice's problem is with me. What doesn't he like about me? I treated you fairly. I've given you water.
True.
I talked nice to you. You know.
You're too nice.
I'm too nice. Yeah.
True. He knows.
How many times has the voice talked to you while we've been in a room here together?
A lot.
Has the voice said jump out of the chair and do anything bad to that policeman?
Saying kill yourself now.
I don't really believe there is a voice, to be honest with
There is
you.
a voice.
No, I don't think there is.
I'm telling
He said,
you.
I don't think there's really a voice.
No. I mean, I feel you probably want to kill yourself because of what happened, but...
No, the voice is telling me to kill myself.
Okay, but the voice is telling you that the AR-15s is... You like guns, man. You wanted to be a ranger. You like guns. It's all right. There's cops like that. There's cops who got 50 million guns. You didn't buy guns because the voice said, hey, today I like Mossbergs, tomorrow I like AR-15s. You like guns.
Can you call the psychologist?
My God, this guy's act is all falling apart.
I've already got the questions from some of the psychologists. Some of the questions I asked you were
Is
from...
it?
Yeah.
I see.
That's the ones I asked you. You already...
No.
The questions were obviously from the investigation team and not a psychologist, but the suspect doesn't know this, and it's fascinating to observe his reaction when he sees the questions are not sympathetic in nature. He perhaps thought a psychotherapist would be asking him about his feelings and affording him some type of reassurance after he committed mass murder, and he becomes very unsettled once he realizes the procedure won't be quite as sympathetic.
Voices. Are the inside or outside of your head? What do the voices say? These are all questions I asked you. How many voices? You said one. Whose voice do you think it was? You didn't know.
What's wrong with me?
I don't know. I don't understand why you can't admit you like guns. You want to talk to a psychologist. Why didn't you talk to a psychologist when the voices started?
The voice is telling me not to, and I listen.
Not to
The
do
voice
what?
was telling you not to talk to a psychologist?
Yeah, but myself, I wanted to.
You ever go to church?
I wanted to.
No, I'm saying ever in your life.
Yeah.
Do you believe in God?
I don't believe in God.
What do you
There's
believe?
no way.
I feel like there's something.
Okay. But if you believe in demons, do you believe in angels? Angels is the good. Demons are the bad. When you say the word demon, you think it's an evil spirit? Or what do you think it is?
That's actually true. Why would he call them demons?
The subject had
Why
earphones
wouldn't
in
he just
during the
call
mass
it, like,
shooting. The
bad
topic
voices
now
in his
lands
head,
on
you know
the
what I mean?
music he was
It's
listening
interesting
to.
that he calls it
I mean,
demons.
I'm sure we don't like the same music. What kind of music we listen to?
But I'm
Name
sure
the-
he's also
name
very
the group.
thoughtless because all his entire act is just really bad, poorly planned.
Mark Green.
You have to help me. Mark what?
Mark something.
What was the song though?
Sad.
That's the name of the song. Sad.
No, Salad Days.
Salad Days.
Salad. Okay. I was lost in 10 seconds, right? Fast forward.
Oh, you listen to more than one song? What other
It was
song
less
you
than
listen
10
to?
seconds. Okay. I paused it.
There's a lot of sad songs.
All right. Did you pick the music yourself, or did the demon pick the music?
Demon, and then myself partially.
All right. Which ones did you pick?
The sad ones.
Which ones did he pick?
The evil ones.
The evil ones. Well, give me an evil one compared to a sad one. You already gave me a sad
There's
one.
gonna be
What's an
another
evil one?
song.
Panzermensch.
What?
Panzermensch.
Panzermensch.
Okay.
Do it.
Oh, no. Oh, well, there's lyrics, but I don't know what it means.
But is it in English?
No.
What language is it in?
German.
Is there another one?
German? Do you speak German?
No,
Then how do you know what the lyrics mean?
I don't.
So they could be happy, right?
I don't know if they're happy or not.
Well, again, you don't because you can't speak it.
The demon chose it. I didn't choose.
But you have
This
one.
is the
How long
demon
do you have them
playlist?
on your playlist?
I mean, Salad Days was kind of a
So
banger.
you listen to them a lot
Demon
of
has
times.
good taste.
So you had a playlist of music that the demon helped you pick out, but you picked out some of them.
The mixtape, the Spotify playlist.
Having a tough time
Link me to the
understanding this demon
link me to
thing.
the Spotify playlist.
Well, the Xanax you were talking to me about earlier. Where'd you get the Xanax? On the street or?
On the streets.
So you used to buy that. Other than Xanax and marijuana, what other drugs you ever tried?
Marijuanas.
Flocka, PCP, cocaine, heroin.
What the heck is Flocka and PCP?
No.
Okay, Xanax. How many of those did you take when you?
What's Flocka? Flocka? What's Flocka? PCP is basically LSD. Flocka is the zombie drug. Monka. What's a zombie drug? Like the bath salt one? Dude, there's so many different kinds of drugs. It's actually insane.
To take them.
I don't know anything.
Okay.
You
Five,
should
what-
try.
what
It's
size
Pog
bar?
Champion.
How
Get
big
this
of-
guy out of my chat. Get
What,
this
what
guy
color
out.
was it?
Get him out.
Okay, what color? They all
White.
White. All right, but that was off the street. Did they help you sleep?
Made me drowsy.
Okay. Did it make the demon go away?
Yeah.
When was the last time you
Why
think
is
you
he
did
not just a
Xanax?
pothead if the marijuana makes the demons go away?
So if the Xanax
Why don't he just...
helps you get the demons away,
Yeah.
Marijuana does it better.
marijuana
Yeah,
does
so
better.
why
When was
doesn't
the
he
last
just
time you smoked
smoke
marijuana?
marijuana 24/7?
Last week.
Last week? If you're making $1,200 a week, why didn't you smoke marijuana
Wait, this
every
guy
day
makes
if you had
$1,200 a
demon?
week?
Illegal.
That's a lot. I thought it
Illegal?
was $1,200 a month. If he makes
It was
$1,200
illegal. It was
a week,
illegal whether you do it once a week or
That's
once,
a decent
once
amount
every
of
5
money.
minutes.
That's
So
a lot of
Why
money.
didn't you choose to get rid of the demon by doing it? Anytime you heard the demon, just light up a blunt.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of money.
You had the money, man.
Because I knew it was illegal and I didn't want to do wrong, but he went too wrong.
At Dollar Tree? Dollar Tree be
So the
paying you like
demon
40
wanted
bucks
you to
an
do
hour or
wrong,
something?
But then your good side didn't want to
J-Roll
do
thinks
wrong
so
by
for months.
smoking marijuana,
Even though it made him go away.
even though it made him go away. Huh. Well, I don't know why
Dollar
people
Tree
are
money.
doctoring the anxiety problems
For-
with marijuana.
for every
Xanax
minute
cured
you work
your
at Dollar
anxiety,
Tree,
made
the
demons
tree
go away. It seems like an easy
gives
fix,
you
man.
$1.
If
That's where
true.
the extra wage comes from.
You sure you didn't like the demon voice? You sure?
I'm sure.
Then why didn't you go to a doctor and get rid of it?
I was afraid. I'm just afraid.
Why, well, forget that for a second. Let me ask you another crazy question. If the demon, was the demon there that night? Ian beat you up on campus?
Huh?
Was the demon there that day when Ian beat you up on campus?
Yes. He told me to go up to him.
Okay, so who did Ian beat up? You or the demon?
These captions are a little scuffed, but...
Okay, so why didn't the demon do something to stop it? Huh?
Eh.
I don't know. That's a good question, because the demons tell you to do all these bad things. Why couldn't the demon get you mad enough to get the best of Ian? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know either. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Why? Why?
Detective's like, yeah, nothing makes sense, my dude.
I don't know. The demon.
You tell me.
I don't know why.
All-powerful thing that tells you to do bad things, and you're afraid of it. Why didn't the demon just take over right then when Ian was getting the best of you and get the best of Ian? Well, why did the demon not do that? Why do you think?
Trying to figure it out.
I don't know. I can't figure it out either, because I don't think the demon exists.
I think.
I don't think it exists.
No, like.
I think that go ahead, bud.
Am I able to like think to myself about it?
Yeah, sure.
That's all I'm asking.
Hey, you can think all you want. I'm just
thinking about the demon.
All right. Well, you want me? I'll leave you to think for a while, and I'll come back and talk to you. I personally, I think you're using the demon as an excuse.
I'm not. I promise.
You could have stopped the demon by getting a prescription for marijuana. You could have stopped the demon by getting a prescription for Xanax. You could have stopped the demon by illegally doing marijuana, which you were doing anyway. You could have stopped the demon by doing Xanax illegally, which you were doing anyway. You could have stopped the demon anytime you want. You didn't want to stop the demon.
The subject seems to be coming to the realization that he's not going to be treated as a victim. As he begins to meet this reality, you will notice him exhibit signs of fear. You will then see him attempt to escape the confrontation by feigning a state of psychosis once more. The detective will recognize this, but this time will not afford reassurance. He will instead apply further condemnation, and a visibly frightening realization will engulf the suspect from that point forward. It's essentially the very beginning of retribution. The detective introduces him to the rest of his life at this moment.
You didn't. You could have. I've given you 4 ways you could have stopped the demon, man. Okay, now you're just acting like that because...
No.
Okay, well, relax. You're just acting like that because I'm making sense. Calm down. I'm making sense, and you don't like when it makes sense.
No.
Because it doesn't fit into the story you're telling right now.
I'm telling you the story. It's true. It's
well, why are you looking at your arm now?
I'm trying to understand why.
Well, why didn't you want to stop the demon?
I don't know.
Because I think you like the demon.
No, I don't.
Why didn't you stop it then?
I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon.
Well, that's if the demon even exists.
Oh. He's piecing
Can I
up.
get an attorney or something?
You want what? An attorney?
Yeah.
Did the demon, the voices tell you to get an attorney? Okay. All right. Will you tell the voice that don't hit yourself in the head, because the attorney the demon just requested, I will stop talking to you.
I'm scared.
You're scared of what?
Scared of being in jail for the rest of your life.
What?
Why wouldn't he protect me, man?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't he protect me?
All right. Well, again, your demon wants an attorney. Does the demon know an attorney? Any name in particular? Okay. All right. Well, just relax. You're done talking to me. And once again, I grabbed the wrong key.
Detective, please. Oh my god, I thought if he tipped over it would be kind of funny.
Stay seated. Put your hands, kind of sit forward in your chair. I'm going to put handcuffs behind you. Since you keep talking about hurting yourself. Hold on. Put your hand behind your back. No, not behind the chair. Behind your back. I don't want to make you that uncomfortable.
Don't make him uncomfortable.
Because what did the demon say about me? I'm a nice guy.
What eyes? Oh my goodness. He just yawned!
Nicholas Cruz was taken to the Broward County Jail, where he remains in isolation to this day. His trial date is yet to be scheduled.
The 20-year-old has been held without bond since last year's mass shooting that left 17 people dead.
Oh my God, he looks
His attorney said he would plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, but prosecutors rejected that offer and are seeking the death penalty.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's crazy.